I am here by myself. Clarissa wasn't able to join today, or Wi-Fi was having issues today, so it's just going to be me. Um, and I'm Hamid. I'm one of the co-founders of HyperPad, and I'm going to spend today showing you how to make some games. And specifically, we're going to learn how to, we're going to talk about how to work with layers and sprite sheets. Um, And as usual, I don't have anything prepared. We're just gonna figure this out together. Sorry, my nose is a bit itchy. We're gonna figure this out together. Um, yeah, let's just get started. So I'm just gonna make a new project. Every time we do this, we just create a new project. I'm gonna go ahead. Actually, let me bring up this chat because I don't know. Oops, that's not what I want to do. What's this button do? Oh, I don't want to do that either. Okay, so um, all right, cool. So we're gonna create a new project. Sorry, I just came back from the gym and I'm like super sweaty. So if I'm really shiny, don't judge me. So I'm gonna make a new project. I'm gonna call it. Um, what did you say we're working on? The layers plus uh, layers and sprite sheets. Very boring name, but that's what we're gonna do today. I'm also gonna set like a timer for like I don't know. Let's call it 30 minutes because you guys don't want to hear me talking. Hey, Clarissa. So let's go and start this. She's in the comments. She can't see me. I think it's just because your internet's bad. I'm hoping it's because the internet's bad. Um, yeah, hopefully that's why. But we'll find out after the stream. Um, yeah, I am on screen. All right. Okay. Good. All right. So now I'm nervous. I'm gonna go. Let me just quickly verify that you guys can see me. I'm just gonna go to our YouTube, youtube.com/hyperpad. Is that what we are? Yeah. Okay. Cool. And I see us live. All right. Just verified we're on. All right. Cool. So we're gonna start a new project. I'm just gonna enable cloud backups as I usually do. I should really upload each one of these to the hub. Um, I don't for some reason. Yes, I think it's because I never finish a project and I intend to finish one. But likely that's going to be the same case here, but that's okay. So we last time we talked about the difference between bird's eye view and side view. We're going to create a side view project because with side view projects you can really we can really take advantage of layers. So let's create a new project. And then, um, yeah, so this is what I call blank slate syndrome. So I don't know where I usually blank out for a second and let me think about what we're gonna make. So just really quick, if the layers bar right now is hidden, and what that means is you can't really see the layers right now. And let's show the layers. So what I just did there, I'm gonna use my trackpad to show this off. But what you'll see this little side button on the side is it's actually our old logo. Now that I'm looking at it, but um, if you click on this guy, it will bring out the layers bar. And if you're not familiar with layers, basically you can kind of think of it as uh, how can I explain layers to the layman? But basically, you're stacking sheets of paper on top of each other, and each sheet of paper um, can is responsible for its own essentially world. So what that means is each layer is responsible for its own physics. Each layer is doesn't interact with each other, and you can kind of move layers above and below. And how we're going to actually show this off is through our get assets. Through our asset shop, our asset shop has a bunch of different asset packs. And the one I'm thinking of right now is using um, our friendly uh, platformer starter pack. Okay, I'm gonna close that guy, bring up our platformer. And what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna create like we're gonna create a moving background with a little bit of parallax. We talked about this a few weeks ago, where you can create a parallaxing kind of background, and um, uh, yeah, Jose Clarissa set this up. She said, make sure you talk about Sprite Sheets. So I'm going to do that today. But we're starting out um, with the layers. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a parallaxing background, and you can think of a parallaxing. What parallax means is basically it if you kind of look. So let's say you're driving along a road, right? And in the distance you see these mountains. So if you're driving along the road and you're driving and you're seeing these mountains, the mountains almost never move because of how far away they are. And the farther away something looks, the less it looks like it moves, right? Whereas if something's really close, you can it will look like it moves really fast. So like let's say there's another car moving, kind of drives past you, that car moves really fast, right? But in mountains, they will seem to be moving very slowly. That might be a poor explanation, but that's the explanation I'm going with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build that. I'm going to build a parallaxing effect. And how we're going to do this is I'm going to create. Hmm, now I'm looking at this asset pack. I'm thinking this might not be the best one. I'm going to use the tappy plane assets instead. Um, yeah, the plane asset has a nice, cool background. So I'm gonna go with this one. So what we're gonna create here is a few different layers, and each layer we're gonna represent as kind of further away from us. So um, I'm gonna call this one. So we're gonna make main be the closest one to us. Um, we're gonna call the next one far, and then we're gonna call the one after that one farthest. Okay, and I'm gonna rearrange these layers. So I'm gonna make the main one the closest layer to us on top, and I'm gonna move the farthest on the bottom. Okay, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add our parallax background pack, and you'll see that we have back, clouds, and mountains. So generally, the back is likely not going to move. So we're just going to throw that on the back. And actually, we're not even going to, whatever, we'll throw this on. Okay. So there's two ways of handling this. One is where we move the camera over, or we can leave the camera stationary and move the world around our camera. I'm going to take the approach of leaving our camera fixed and moving the world around our camera. So we're not going to use we're not going to use the move camera behavior. What we're going to use is we're going to actually move things around here. So the furthest one, we actually don't need to do anything. We don't need to change any behaviors, right? The background's the sky. We don't need to change anything there. And then the next one is going to be um, You know what? I'm gonna actually change this to be the background, and let's make that the background, and we'll make this aspect fill. Okay, and then the farthest is going to be the mountains. So mountains are going to be really far away, and I'm gonna go ahead and I already deleted it. So I'm gonna add. Oops. I'm gonna add. I'm gonna drag the mountains um, off. It's kind of hard to see, right? It's pretty hard to see. That's okay. Um, then you know what I'm gonna do then? I'm not gonna use the background. Uh, let's put this back to default, and we're gonna call this one. Just call new. Let's call this one called background. Background. Now what we're gonna do on background, put that under furthest or farthest. I might have had a spelling error there. And what we're gonna do is I'm gonna stretch this out a little bit, make it bigger. And then I'm gonna make this be a little bit darker, just so we can see, stuff. Change the contrast a bit. That looks a little bit easier to see. And then let's go into our farthest layer where our mountains are. And what I'm doing here is I'm just tapping between these layers. And farthest has our mountains. See how I can hide and show our layers. And background, I can show and hide that layer. So farthest has our mountain. And what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this mountain once. And what we're going to do is basically we're going to add some logic so that whenever this, and what we're going to do is we're actually going to, let me just, let me go with our main layer first. And what we're going to do is we're going to add our plane just so that we can kind of see the, let's use the red plane so we can actually be seen. And we're going to just throw that into the center. And so let's go back to our furthest layer. And what we're going to do is we're going to move so what we're going to do is we're going to move the mountain. Actually, I'm just going to delete this guy. And what I'm going to do is move this to be, so we're going to transform this. How can I do this? So I'm going to move this off. So I'm going to try to move this off to the left of the screen. And when it reaches to the left of the screen, it's going to teleport back to the right side of the screen. Okay, so so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab the size of this mountains, and I press on preview, and it tells us that it's 32 meters by 24 meters, which is exactly the size of an iPad screen. And we're just going to take advantage of that. So what we're going to do here is, or you know what? I'm going to actually make another one. I'm going to duplicate this guy, and I'm going to move this so that it is right off to the edge of the screen. And what we're going to do is we're going to move this guy to this object here. And then that's what we're going to do. And how we're going to do this, let me change the position. We're going to set the position X to be minus 16. Oops. Minus 16 meters. Oops. Minus, oh, can't do minus here. Negative 16 meters. There we go. And we're going to set the Y to be 0. Oh, no, it can't be 0. It has to be half. So we're going to set that to 12 meters, which is exactly half. So So what I did was I moved the position of this object to um, the just off of the screen. Uh, so I'm just gonna lock the position so that we can't change the position of it again. So you can see that if I try to move it, I can't, it's locked. And what I'm gonna do with this one, I'm gonna add a behavior to it, and I'm gonna use the move to object behavior. Move to object behavior, yeah, move to object, there we go. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna move this set of mountains to uh, here. I could have also used the um, I could also use the what's it called? The move to point behavior, and just set the position to be -16. Um, uh, but we're just gonna use move to object just because it might be easier to think about. So we're gonna do this over, I don't know, let's just change this to speed, and we're gonna do this over 1 meter per second. We'll see how fast that is. So we're just gonna press play, and you'll see that the mountains are kind of sliding. So what happens once the mountains are completely off the screen, right? Uh, that means it needs to kind of teleport back to the to what it actually needs to do is teleport back to the complete right side of the screen. So if you imagine our mountains coming in like this, and what we want to do is teleport back over here, and we start that process over again. So let's do that. So we're gonna teleport our um, we're gonna teleport. Um, I'm actually going to change this. Sorry guys, I'm gonna use the move to point behavior. It's probably easier to do it that way. So we're gonna use move to point, which is going to be minus 16, and I think we said 12, and we're gonna speed it set to 1 meters per second, and then we're gonna teleport it to the off the screen. So we're gonna just duplicate this guy, and then we're gonna teleport it uh, right to the edge of the screen. So we're gonna set that to um, 16, right? Because that's gonna be as we want it to be the half of the size of the mountains. I believe that's what you want to do. And let's see what happens. I'm actually gonna make this a little bit faster too, so that we don't have to wait forever. Let's set this to 5 meters per second. Set this to 5 meters per second, and let's press play. There we go. Do 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 do. Ah, so we didn't teleport it. Let's see where it goes. Okay, so you want to set this to be 32 meters. Uh, let's set that to 32 meters. We're actually going to set the duration to be 0 seconds, so it teleports. Um, and then let's see what happens now. Okay, my math is no good, guys, so we're just gonna move this to be, what is it, 48? 16 plus 32 is 48, yeah. Luckily, it's easy to kind of fiddle around with the settings. So we should not see the mountain right now once it comes back. Cool, you don't. All right, and now what we're gonna do is we're gonna duplicate this guy. Um, Actually, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna start the logic over. We want this to loop forever, right? We want this. So once this is done, we want it to go right back to here. But problem is in HyperPad, if you try to do that, um, HyperPad doesn't know where to start this, right? So you need to have something to initialize the starting point. the starting behavior. So we're gonna just throw a behavior bundle, which is just an empty behavior, and boom. Now, what happens is the behavior bundle is gonna be the starting point, and since bundle doesn't do anything, it just goes right to the next behavior, and then it's gonna move the point, and then it's gonna teleport. Then once the teleport's done, it's gonna go right back to move the point, and then it's gonna try to move off the screen, teleport, and it does that forever. So let's press play and see what happens. So we should see the mountains kind of move forever. Look at that. So what about this gap? How do we fix this gap? That's a pretty easy problem to solve. All we have to do is we just need to duplicate, um, we just gotta duplicate this one time, and now it'll just go on forever because when you duplicate it, it duplicated the behaviors as well. So if you press play, you'll see that there's like a tiny little gap um, between the mountains. I think that's because the mountains are slightly um, small. I think there might be a space in the mountains. So how can we fix that? We can kind of cheat and just move this over and see if that works. Yep, it looks pretty seamless. Oh, no, it's even worse now. Is this one of those situations where it's going to gap forever? Okay, so all right, maybe let me just kind of adjust this so that this initial one is off. The other way is just to um, just make this scale the x just a little bit higher. So let's put this back to 16, and then put this to 12, and scale the x to be like, I don't know, 101%, just so it's slightly wider. We'll do the same thing for this one. Let's move this back to 12, move this to 48. Okay, and then just make this slightly wider to 101%. All right, and then now they should kind of overlap a little bit, and that overlap is probably good enough. Looks pretty seamless. All right, cool. So we have the mountains moving forever. Now those are moving kind of fast. Let's go into each behavior and just slow this down a bit to be 1 meter per second. Uh, that one doesn't need to change. That one's teleport. And then, oops, and then the same thing for this guy. Set this to be 1 meters per second. And now when you press play, they should move really slowly, like a snail. Um, all right. So now what we're gonna do is we're going to now make we're gonna go on the layer above. So we're done with the farthest, and we're gonna pretty much do the exact same thing, but this time we're gonna do it with the clouds. So we're gonna do clouds. Um, okay, I'm realizing that we did this backwards, so clouds should be behind. Okay, so I screwed this up. So let me rename farthest to be. So what I did here to edit it is, so I moved farthest above. So we're gonna call this one far. So we're gonna press this gear icon, press this little pencil, and change this to far. Okay, and then what we're gonna do is change this one to be furthest. Okay, and now we just gotta change our So the mountains need to move faster than the clouds behind. So in this case, the clouds are really far away. So that's going to be here, and then we're just going to kind of, I'm going to hide the, I'm going to hide the mountains for a sec, just so we can play around with the mountains. And we're just going to do the same thing, set the position to 16, set that to, what is it? Oh, 12 is already the right one. Actually, I'm going to go back into far, and we don't need this guy anymore because we didn't take the approach of, um, moving to object. We're just moving to point. So we're going to go the furthest here, and then we're going to move that. So do this exact same logic. We're going to do behavior bundle, move to point, transform, move to point. Sorry, I should be using my trackpad so you can see. So move to point, and then we're going to move to -16 and 12 over a speed of 1 meters per second. And then we're going to duplicate this guy and teleport this to be off the screen once it reaches to the left side of this, off the left side of the screen. And we're going to teleport this guy to be, what is it? What did we say earlier? 48 meters at a speed of 1 meters per second. And then we're just going to start back over. Okay, and then we're just going to duplicate that, press play, and let's see what we got. So they're moving at the same rate. So let's move the mountains a little bit faster. Let's set this to be 5 meters per second. And then we're going to use this and then set this to be also 5 meters per second. And press play. So let's see what we got. That's all fast. Let's adjust that a little bit better. Let's make this be 3 meters per second and move this one also 3 meters per second. And press play. There we go. So just by looking at this, you can kind of see that the mountains look closer than the clouds do, right? And we can make the clouds move even slower. But it gives you a really nice effect of um, like movement. Like you can really feel like the plane is flying through the sky. So what we're gonna do now is we're just gonna animate this airplane. And this airplane is actually is it so this airplane does not use a sprite sheet. Um, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of convert it into a sprite sheet with this add animation behavior. So what we want to do is we just want to have the airplane's propellers look like it's spinning, right? So what we're going to do is use the add animation behavior to create a sprite sheet. So what we're going to do is how can I do this? I actually have to, I can't move. I need to download this somehow. Let's see if I can, oops. Let's see if I can grab it from files. So I'm going to add animations. I'm going to grab the files, and I think I can actually just go through Hyperpad and find Hyperpad, Hyperpad folder. Where's Hyperpad? Oops. On my iPad, and Hyperpad, there you are. Games. Shoot, what did we call this one? We called this one layers. Oh, shoot. Layers and sprite sheets, and then assets, and then downloads, tabby pane. What did we call this one? We called it planes, and then red plane. Shoot, I'm gonna go with this one. So you'll see that we have two here. And oh shoot, uh, import. Why can't I do that? Is it because it's protected? I think it's because I have iCloud enabled, and iCloud is screwing up some stuff. We have a bug fix ready for that. So how can I'm just gonna, um, all right, let's just skip that for now. But basically what you can do is I'm gonna create a new image here. So I can create an animation or import a sprite sheet here. And sprite sheets can be basically any like a combination of a P list and a pic like an image with a bunch of pictures in a single image, and it needs to be exported through a program called Texture Packer, which you can download on the internet. But basically, you can import any Cocos 2D sprite sheet. But we're just gonna create an animation here just off of my camera roll. Can you take a picture, or did we remove that feature? I think I removed that picture. Let's use this guy. This is gonna be my animation. I don't know, something's going on with my iPad. But okay, it's okay. So what we're gonna do is we're going to manually animate our airplane with the different frames that they gave us. So we have the F1, F2, and F3. And what we're gonna do on the main layer is um, we're gonna animate. So what we're gonna do is uh, we're gonna use the FX behavior. We're gonna use the play animation behavior. And with what we're going to do here with the select animation is you'll see that this little film strip pops up. And what you can do is you can actually add individual images into this. Sorry, I should be using this. So you click the little, I forgot what this would be called, like a directory, and then you could choose each frame. And now you'll see over here, it's showing you a little preview of it. And you can see that it's running 60 frames per second, which might be a little fast for this uh, uh, for this picture. And what we can do is we can just give it less frames per second. So we'll just decrease it by half and just make it 30 frames just to slow it down a bit, which looks a little bit better, I think. And we're gonna press play. And just look at that. It might be so I'm looking at my video on the stream, and it's looking pretty slow on the video. For me, it's going real fast. Oh, so let me just show you what it looks like on my iPad if that's not gonna glow. That's what this looks really nice and smooth. So but yeah, that's kind of the quick tutorial. We kind of went through. Oops, I'm realizing I forgot to duplicate the cloud. For this cloud here. And 16 I don't know. Something weird was going on there. But yeah, we kind of went through. Let's just kind of talk about what we went through. We went through creating a parallax effect with layers and the move to point behavior. And we talked about how to quickly talked about how to create a sprite sheet. And the way you create a sprite sheet, just really quickly again, is through the add animations behavior. And that will create a single unified large image. It'll like merge a bunch of images together into one single image, which will make your, there it is again. I think my logic might not be good for the clouds. Something, why is it going backwards? Did I forget to set the speed of this guy? Yeah, that's why. Make it teleport 0 seconds. And I gotta do the same thing on this one. Make it teleport. There we go. But anyways, yeah, just to reiterate, you use in the directory, you add animation, and you can add sprite sheets through adding an animation. Or when you're importing an image, you can import a Cocos 2D style sprite sheet, and you can use a program on the Mac called Texture Packer to export those. Or there's quite a lot of um, images you can use there, and it's a combination of a image with a bunch of pictures in it, and a plist that kind of describes where those pictures are in the sprite sheet. And if you don't want to use that, if you just want to make your own sprite sheet, you just use the add animation functionality by pressing and holding the image on in the dock. So you press this button, or what we call this, press and hold an image, and press add animation, and then you import it from a source. I didn't really describe what the SC plus HD do. You can do that another day, but quickly, iPads support multiple styles of resolutions, and you can you can import a standard image with the where the images pixels are dense or not dense, or with the HD version, which you'll use the same kind of virtual resolution, but the pixels are all very densely packed together. So you can think of an HD image being double the size of a standard image. But we'll talk about that another day. Um, but yeah, hit up our yeah, that's pretty much it for today. Hit up our socials. You can join our Discord channel, and ask any questions there. Our forum is a great place to ask questions as well at hyperpad.com slash forum. Follow us on all our socials that you can find on in the description of this video. And yeah, just like we're always around, happy to help. All right, see you later, guys. How do I stop this? Oh, geez, end stream. There it is.